I just bought 3 houses in Cleveland, Ohio for $60,000 each. Well, kind of. This property's a triplex, meaning 3 apartments all under one roof, which I honestly prefer.
Oh yeah. Time to skedaddle.
Call 911.
Cleveland 911, dispatcher Medina, do you need police, fire, or EMS?
Crazy.
Police. I called in about it. Just letting you guys know.
What's going on, folks? Eddie Carrington, mayor of Flux City, and today we got to talk about this video that honestly feels like the perfect snapshot of where a lot of Midwest cities are right now. A real estate investor is sitting in front of a property he just bought, trying to shoot promotional content, talking about opportunity, talking about investment, talking about neighborhood transformation. And then suddenly gunshots literally ring out across the street and the man has to run for cover on camera. Now the internet is reacting to this like it's some shocking viral moment, but if you actually work in real estate development in cities like Cleveland, Detroit, St. Louis, Milwaukee, Chicago, Baltimore, this isn't just viral content. This is the uncomfortable truth between speculative investment, neighborhood disinvestment, public safety failures, housing economics, and the reality of trying to redevelop communities that have been neglected for decades. And I already know this conversation is going to make some people uncomfortable because some people want to act like you can separate real estate from crime or separate development from community conditions. You can't. Now, to be real with you, this video may accidentally be one of the most honest real estate videos the internet has seen in years.
A video now with more than 2 million views is putting a spotlight on gun violence in a Cleveland neighborhood. Take a listen. Hear those gunshots there. News 5's Maya Lockett spoke with the realtor at the center now of that viral video and with neighbors about what they want done about the crime they say they see all too often.
So this video has over 2 million views, right? That is insane. But I need people to understand why this video went viral. It's not just because the gunshots rang out in the background. It's because the video accidentally exposed something most real estate marketing tries to hide. A lot of urban real estate content online is heavily curated, right? Drone shots, coffee shops, exposed brick, right? Cash flow opportunity, before and after transformation. But what rarely gets shown is the instability that often exists during the transition phase of neighborhood redevelopment. And that transition phase can last years, sometimes decades. There's a term planners and developers understand called the middle condition. That's when a neighborhood is no longer completely abandoned, but not yet stabilized economically or socially. That middle condition is often the most dangerous phase. Why? Well, because the old systems are literally collapsing right in front of the eyes of the residents, and they're having to live with it in real time. New investment is uneven, poverty remains concentrated, absentee ownership still exists, even more so during this phase, infrastructure is weak, and social trust is extremely low. Detroit has entire neighborhoods that have lived in this condition for 20+ years.
Thornhill Drive in Cleveland is a quiet residential street lined with family homes just steps away from Forest Hills Park.
I'm not safe.
It's a place where neighbors like Michael Nonley are forced to endure the sounds of gunshots.
It's a common thing.
Including an incident Thursday afternoon that one man captured on video.
So this is where media framing gets interesting because notice how they describe the neighborhood, right? Quiet, family homes, steps away from the park. And all of that may be true, but one thing America still struggles to talk about honestly is crime and distressed neighborhoods, which is often highly concentrated and hyper-localized. One block can feel safe, the next block can feel completely different, like a war zone in some scenarios. That's especially true in older Midwest cities where population collapsed, tax breaks shrank, schools deteriorated, and public investment became inconsistent. This is actually something that out-of-town investors often underestimate. They look at cheap acquisition costs, Zillow comps, projected rents, Section 8 demand, cap rates, but they don't typically study things like block by block social dynamics, gang territories, informal neighborhood leadership, nuanced properties, liquor store clustering, infrastructure neglect, code enforcement patterns, or violent crime concentration. And then they wonder why their spreadsheet doesn't match reality. Now, here's the crazy part. Sometimes investors unintentionally destabilize neighborhoods further. Not because the investment itself is bad, but because rapid speculative acquisition without community integration can create things like transient tenants, weak property management, poor screening, absentee ownership, and reduced neighborhood cohesion. Now, that conversation almost never gets discussed publicly.
Aiden Avgis is the team lead with Remax Infinity.
So I run a real estate investment team. We sell a lot of east side of Cleveland, west side, stuff like that for investment properties.
Now, this is the sentence investors need to pay close attention to because the Midwest investor ecosystem has become heavily financialized over the last decade. What do I mean by that? A very significant amount of distressed homes became investment products, not homes, not communities, not legacy assets, products. Especially after the 2008 foreclosure crisis, cities like Detroit, Cleveland, these are cities that became global bargain bins for investors. You had people buying homes sight unseen from overseas, from California, from New York, from Florida, and many of them had zero relationship with the actual community. Let's talk about investment property economics a bit, right? A lot of investors entering these neighborhoods are attracted by low acquisition costs, high gross rent multipliers, subsidized rental demand, and appreciation potential. But what social media doesn't show, insurance costs are extremely high right now. Copper theft is common in urban areas. Vacancy losses are brutal, right? Maintenance costs explode. Financing is difficult. Appraisals are inconsistent. Security expenses increase, and contractors become harder to manage. And crime risk directly impacts all of this. But I got plenty of stories about how contractors did me dirty in the past.
On Thursday afternoon, he was shooting a promotional video in front of the home on Thornhill Drive.
I was sitting there, and then they pulled up, and I saw the car open, and I immediately instincts ran away, and you can see that in the video. I was running before the shots even fired.
He says he immediately called police.
Cleveland 911, dispatcher Medina.
The response is a lot slower than what I was used to growing up where I grew up.
When you work in urban development long enough, you develop situational awareness. You start reading environments a little differently, right? You notice things like parked cars, suspicious movement, gathering patterns, abandoned houses being used informally, lighting conditions, escape routes. And honestly, that's something that most people watching from the suburbs don't fully understand. Now, one of the hardest realities in neighborhood redevelopment is this. You can renovate every house on the block, but if residents still don't feel safe, the neighborhood won't stabilize long term. Safety perception matters almost as much as safety statistics. That impacts tenant retention, property values, business investment, retail attraction, school enrollment, mortgage lending, insurance underwriting. Crime doesn't just hurt residents emotionally, it literally impacts cash flow.
According to Cleveland Police Calls for Service data, there have been 2 shots fired reported on this street in the past 7 days.
Something does need to be done.
He knows the video could affect property sales in the area, but says the message is more important.
This is real life.
Now, this is where I wish the media would go a little bit deeper, because the real question is, why are certain streets experiencing persistent violence? And no, the answer usually isn't as simple as bad people. You have to look at structural conditions, concentrated poverty, housing instability, lead exposure, underfunded schools, disinvestment, lack of youth programming, economic isolation, vacant housing, trauma cycles. Urban planners often talk about broken window theory, the idea that visible disorder contributes to more crime. Now, that theory is controversial, but there is strong evidence that vacancy, blight, abandoned structures, poor lighting, unmanaged lots, right, all correlate strongly with violent crime concentration. Why? Because abandoned environments reduce informal social surveillance. Basically, people stop feeling ownership over the space. Now, I am from Detroit, so I got to throw Detroit in here. Detroit has fought this exact issue for decades. And one thing Detroit teaches you, demolition alone doesn't fix neighborhoods. Development alone doesn't fix neighborhoods. Policing alone doesn't fix neighborhoods. You need economic opportunity, stable housing, functioning schools, public infrastructure, mental health resources, and actual community trust. That's the hard part.
Less than 24 hours on social media, the viral video already has 2.4 million views.
If you're investing in these areas, I think it's definitely, you need to be aware of the consequences of what can happen, and it's tragic on what's happening, and something needs to change.
I did reach out to TPD for the 911 call and additional information on Thursday's incident, and have not yet heard back. Reporting in Cleveland, Maya Lockett, News 5.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of investors would never post this footage because they are worried about things like property values, branding, investor perception, tenant fear, market optics. But this video accidentally created a more honest conversation than most development conferences ever do. Some people online are mocking the neighborhood while simultaneously benefiting from the same economic system that created these conditions. America spent decades extracting industry from cities, subsidizing suburbanization, starving urban tax bases, redlining neighborhoods, and quite honestly, destroying wealth building pathways. And then people act shocked when instability appears. That doesn't excuse violence at all, but it does mean we need to start having more intelligent conversations. Challenge both extremes, right? Anti-development rhetoric and blind investor optimism. But folks need to understand that neighborhood stabilization can take years, sometimes generations. But investors are still going to buy in quote unquote riskier areas because distressed neighborhoods often offer lower entry points, redevelopment upside, historic housing stock, right? These houses are very solid, right? He bought this triplex that looks very sturdy. It needs a little bit of work, but looks like he got a good deal. Proximity, right? Maybe he's close to downtown. Infrastructure is already in place. Public incentives may be offered to developers that come and rehab these types of properties. And of course, future appreciation potential. So the risk reward equation is what attracts capital. Hey, listen, this video wasn't just about gunshots. It was about the reality of trying to rebuild neighborhoods that America spent generations neglecting. And that's why I think this clip hit people so hard emotionally, because for one split second, the polished world of real estate investing collided with the raw reality of urban instability. And honestly, if we actually want safer neighborhoods, better housing, better schools, better communities, then the conversation has to go deeper than buy property or lock people up. We have to talk about economics, infrastructure, trauma, housing policy, ownership, accountability, and long-term community investment. Because rebuilding neighborhoods isn't just construction, it's rebuilding trust. But I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts about this? Would you invest in neighborhoods such as this one? Do videos such as the one that we're reviewing actually hurt redevelopment efforts, or do they force people to finally confront reality? Would love to know your thoughts in the comment section below, and make sure you hit the subscribe button as well. I also have a Patreon community. Link is in the description. And we talk a little bit more low level about real estate development and entrepreneurship. Would love to welcome you over in that community as well. See you in the next video.